Hey guys, Anthony here for Rev3 Games. I am at PAX. Just checked out the contracts mode of Hitman Absolution. I got Tor here. He is the game director. Is it fair to call this sort of the international assassin's game of horse? Tell us a little bit about the mode.
Yeah, I've heard people describe it as that. As we would say it at IO would be to say that you can create your own hit within the game, selecting any character from the game world and create a hit by yourself and share it with your friends. And you can create certain conditions that you will see met that could create, you can say, extra bonuses within your contract. So in that way, you can call it a game of horse.
So yeah, this is, you guys use maps that are part of the campaign mode, and the player goes through and kind of however they play the map, it then becomes sort of a challenge for their friends, right? Is that how it goes down?
Yeah, basically when you create a contract, you have to play the game by yourself and you have to prove that it's possible to pull off this contract. So when you say you go into the game and you have a marker you can put on a character saying, okay, this guy's going to be my target, then you take him down in whatever way you want. You put on a disguise, you use a special weapon, you hide all the evidence, or you make it look like an accident. All these things that are kind of, you can say, hallmark kind of Hitman features is things you can tap into in contracts and use as well. So there's a lot of kind of emergent gameplay in this, as the NPCs will be, I mean, they're kind of running on a basic AI, so they will do all kinds of unpredicted things when you kind of tamper with them. And this is something that we've been seeing players doing for years with the old games. We just kind of put it into a system now and made it possible for them to create it in Absolution.
So how granular does this get? I mean, if I kill a guy with a certain sort of technique in a very specific place, in a very specific way, does that then become part of the challenge? Or do you kind of allow for a little bit of that NPC AI to kind of react differently each time?
Well, definitely, it's up to you as the creator. If you want everything you do to kind of be like important to the contract, you can set it as conditions, and people kind of also get a hint then to what you did. If you're doing something really devious and kind of trying to get away with something that is very hard to pull off, sometimes it can actually be a good idea to hide these conditions for people so that they don't really understand how you did it. They just know that he actually took out a guy in the middle of a crowd unseen. How did he do that? I have no idea. So but if you had all the conditions turned on, they would see, okay, you did it in this disguise, you know, with a sniper rifle or whatever, and they would also get a kind of clue to it. So we, to be honest, don't really know how this will work when it's kind of released into the wild with kind of thousands or millions of people playing contracts and creating them. So we're really looking forward to seeing kind of which kind of inventive things people can come up with. And you can say one thing is the gameplay part of it. Another thing is the kind of the fantasy of it, because you can also go in and edit the title of your contract and even make a custom mission briefing that you can kind of write by free text. So if you want to create a kind of a custom backstory for a character in the game, or you have a friend that's playing the game and you want to make something personally for him, you can create that story within your contract and post it to him.
These are all played. These are not specific contract maps. Is that correct? These are maps that are actually from the campaign mode, and they kind of behave in the same way they do in the campaign, right?
Yeah, you can say the basic principle is the same. So you come to an area, and maybe in the story mode, you have to get from A to B basically, and there's these cops looking for you, for instance. But if you turn this into a contract map and select a hit in there, suddenly you're playing through this level in a fundamentally different way. And for us, this is far more powerful than creating a new scenario to do this in, because you can say everything is very fine-tuned in the story mode, but it is fine-tuned in a degree where it's based on the player's choices. So anything you can choose in story mode is kind of multiplied in contracts mode, because when you select a different target, the whole game kind of changes to focus on that.
What do I get if I beat my friend's contract besides bragging rights? Like, what do you get out of playing and completing these contracts?
Well, you do get money out of it that you can spend on, you can say, upgrading weapons and buying new weapons or disguises that you can use in your contracts. But I mean, the bragging rights and being on the leaderboards is something that we believe is a very strong motivator for playing contracts. And if you're creating a contract that you kind of send to your friends, you can also set up a competition saying that you have 24 hours to beat my score on this, and then see who gets out of it. And then the worst thing, of course, is that within 10 minutes, they've beaten your score, and it's like you come back like,
I've set up the most devious map in the... Oh, okay, that's over. New competition. So these maps, since they're all campaign maps, do we start off with contracts completely unlocked, or is this something where more things become available to us as we play through the campaign?
Well, actually, as you play through the campaign, you can always access contracts on that specific level. If you just press the pause button, we will kind of push a featured contract, as we call them, for that specific level or that specific area. While if you just want to play contracts from the get-go, you can go straight to the contracts menu and start selecting there. We have been kind of careful about limiting too much what people could do, because we also believe that this is such a powerful feature in the game, and we really want people to enjoy it. We don't want them to be limited by the story mode to play contracts. So if your friend has kind of finished the whole game, he's unlocked everything, and he's making a contract with a custom disguise and a custom weapon in the last level of the game, he can send it to you, and you will get a spoiler warning saying that, you haven't played through this in story mode, but we will not limit it for you, because we believe that it's still more fun for you to play that and then make it your choice.
Awesome.
If you want to.
So you guys are still sensitive to the fact that, like, if I haven't seen a map, maybe I don't want that spoiled for me. That's great. I love that. Thank you so much for explaining this to me. This sounds like a really awesome mode, and I think it's really cool from a stealth player perspective, because now you're almost giving people kind of simplified level creation tools where they can go through and kind of make their own Hitman game. That's awesome. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
We'll have more on Hitman Absolution, of course, as they get closer to release, and tons more from PAX over the next few days, so be sure you're subscribed here to Rev3 Games so you don't miss it.